My name is Kaeci. I'm 20 years old. I'm the operations assistant here at How to Manage a Small Law Firm. I got this employment opportunity through Year Up, which is an internship organization.
Kaeci joined us about 9 months ago, and at that time she was an intern with Year Up and came to us pretty green. She had had a few jobs before. I think the job she had at the time was working at a museum store.
I got my first job when I was 15. I was working at Bayside Marketplace at this restaurant in the food court. And then I escalated into a gift shop at a museum. And then when I was 16, I got a job at a small law firm. I was a file clerk, so all the documents, all the files, I had to file everything, organize it for the attorneys. When I was 17, I worked at a gourmet market. I worked at Epicure Gourmet Market. I also worked at a wholesale jewelry place in downtown. I was a receptionist. Those are all my jobs so far. I knew I wanted to be in business. I knew I wanted to be a business owner. And I wasn't taking any action steps to get me anywhere closer to that. I knew that I needed to do something drastic to be surrounded by people who could mentor me, who could guide me to the real life business world. So I was matched with this company that I had never heard about called How to Manage a Small Law Firm. I didn't even know what they did or where they were, but all of my internship, my coaches, they were so excited about it because it was like, this company, you're gonna be able to learn so much like hands-on things. They wanna get you on this marketing track. You're gonna be with 3 other of your peers. And I was like, I had no idea really, like I was excited, but I really didn't know. And the first thing they asked me is like, what car do you wanna drive? What life do you wanna live? How much money do you wanna make? These are all questions that I knew, but I never really, nobody asked me that. Nobody had asked me like, how much money do you want to make at 19, 20 years old? And I didn't know what to say. I was stuck. I was like, I want to make a lot of money. I want to be rich. But there was no solid number. There was no plan. There was no definite anything. It was just up in the air. And Arjan immediately was like, you're full of shit. You need to figure this out because you're not gonna grow. So I was intimidated, I was scared, but I knew that these people were really about what they were talking about. I knew that it was real. And I was excited because I was like, I can't believe I got linked here. I can't believe I'm here.
But she hadn't really worked in a company that focused on policy and procedure. So our goal was to indoctrinate her and the 3 other interns into a process for education.
Arjan and Rick, they always made an emphasis on explaining the system to us and how we had to go about it, what resources we had to use, how to use the resources available to us, how to reach out to people, and taking advantage of the logic, the business logic that they have implemented in this company in order to become efficient producers for the company. Even though we were interns, even though we were 19, we were still creating things of value.
So we developed an entire process that took the 6-month internship and broke it down into 2-week increments.
Yeah, and they taught us the systematic way to get to that. It's not just something that we were like thrown into and we had to figure it out. It was a lot of both, which allowed us to excel that much faster.
And so the interns were able to grow in responsibility and capabilities. Those that really didn't catch on and couldn't make it just didn't make it. That was part of the internship. Kaeci was one of those that showed that she could get this and follow the process and the learning.
When I was exposed to this company and the way they did things, I was like, how doesn't everybody do this?
Once we knew we had a person that understood what process meant and how to follow a process, we decided that it was time to switch her from being just an intern working on some general marketing space to actually working in operations and starting to take on the role of operations assistant.
And I just finished the 6-month internship where our John, Rick, Ali, the executive team, they decided to hire me full time.
So Kaeci's a valued member of our team. In fact, she has one of the toughest jobs around, which is she has to maintain our equipment. She has to ensure that it's functioning properly. She has to inventory our AV. She has to inventory our forms. She has to inventory all our paper products that go out. She has to inventory our info products. She has a full list of our info product library.
I update the billing documents every 15th of the month, make sure that every client that we have is billed properly.
She works with our events team to make sure that the inventory of all our equipment is in place. She makes sure that all of the different event types get the right set of equipment.
I ensure that all of the inventory supplies that get sent out for workshops or any special events is packed and ready and counted properly so everybody makes sure that they have what they need.
She has to go through and make sure that our vendors are showing up on time and they're doing their job properly. Everything from the water that we drink through to the people who mow our lawn, she's responsible for making sure they show up.
I communicate back and forth with our coaches, with other executives of our team. I send out special recordings to get transcribed from outsourced companies, make sure that it gets back, make sure it gets posted.
She's also responsible for making sure that our billing system is correct. She's responsible for making sure that our customers are paying on time. She has to make sure that those customers that are paying on time also get reflected properly in our databases so the coaches know that who they're talking to. She's responsible for putting the coaching lists together, what the rosters look like, making sure that the coaches get all the information correctly, that there's data consistency around all our information, that our CRM is up to date.
I answer any questions from our members. We have a support line, so if they have any questions, I answer directly to them. I also do member on-site boarding calls, so tours to the member site just to give them good customer service to make sure that they're getting a good experience.
Whenever we add a member, that member gets added, she processes the forms, she scans the forms, makes sure they're filed in the proper place. She makes sure that all of those files are accessible to the right people. She puts them in the right place. She names them properly. She has and follows the naming convention, all those things. Some of these things she does on site, some of them she does in the office. And she's always going through back inventory, items that maybe we haven't used. She goes through our warehouse. There are piles of things we don't know are there, so she inventories all of those.
So I'm also responsible for the program calendar. Any event that happens within the company, I have to dock it in through our event calendar. We post it here on the wall. We have an online version. We have an Evernote. So I have to make sure that that's all there for all the members of our team. If they need to see what's happening, if they want to schedule something, if they want to change, I'm the person that's responsible for making sure it's up there.
She works on saving us money by making sure that all the things that we've paid for get used properly. She saves us money by making sure that our investments don't get trashed. Things have to be packed properly, things have to be bundled properly, things have to arrive in the right place. She also makes us money by making sure that our members are paying on time, they're paying for the right program. They may be assigned to one program, but it turns out they're paying for another. No, she has to go in and make sure they're paying for the right thing. She makes sure that when workshops get signed up, that members are paying for those workshops. She has to go through all those inventories and all those lists. She also has to manage a set of people and the data they need to work day to day. She also has to work with our web development team to make sure our pages are posted properly, that recordings are posted, that recordings are uploaded, that they're available for the members, that workbooks are there, that the PDFs are there, the recordings from our weekly calls with members get placed onto the website properly, that people who have access, say, to a particular program and maybe they have specific data, maybe it's recordings with transcripts, are all there. So she works with our transcription service, sends them information, sends them the audio, make sure it comes back on time, make sure that those audios and all the text are posted. So a long list of items that she has to be responsible for. They're all documented, they're all listed, so she never gets lost in the process. But it's a huge amount of responsibility.
And I'm being challenged, taking on more responsibilities, but a lot of good things are happening. I was a senior in high school and I desperately needed a car.
And I didn't have any money, my mom didn't have any money, nobody in my family had any money to get a car for me. And all I heard was like sob stories about, oh, I want to get you a car, but I'm not going to get you a car. So my stepfather got some, I don't know what he did, but he got me a PT Cruiser, a 2006 PT Cruiser. And the first time that I drove it, it overheated and broke down. And I had to deal with that overheating and breaking down from my senior year in high school till I was like 19 years old. But I always knew, like, I didn't have to, I wasn't supposed to be dealing with this. Like, I deserve better. I should have a reliable car. Like, everybody's entitled to a car that's nice, that's luxurious, that's reliable, that you feel good in. My car, my PT Cruiser had no brakes. Like, it was like the most ridiculous, crazy car that was just a recipe for disaster. Like, it left me stranded. Like, tires were popping all the time. Like, it was a disaster. Nobody should deal with that. Nobody should deal with that. Before my PT Cruiser officially died, I was driving around with like no brakes, but I didn't really know. It was really unsafe. I took it to the auto shop across the street, and Phil, the owner, was like, this car is unsafe to drive. Like, he made me sign a liability form saying if I drive off the lot, like, this is unsafe. So at this point, I didn't have a car. I needed a car. And I went out and went to the Honda dealer and leased a Honda Civic. And my family was accepting of that just because it was like a basic car. It was cheap, it was good, it was reliable, and I wasn't gonna have any problems. It wasn't so opulent and crazy that it was gonna make them uncomfortable. So I leased the car and they accepted it. And it was cool with them and it was cool with everybody. It was new enough to be like, oh wow, this is a great car, but it was still a Honda, so it's still like, it's not that great. But I wasn't able to get the car that I really wanted. I didn't get the car, like, you know, a nice car that I really, really wanted. I got a Honda Civic, which is like, whatever, not that great. So when Arjan and Rick and Ali were engineering my compensation package, they included a car that I would really want to be driving to make it so that my family would be, for them it would just be okay. They would accept it now because it's like they're giving me the car. It's included in my compensation package versus me going out and getting the car that I really wanted myself. Because if I were to do that, then they would see me like, what the hell are you doing? Who do you think you are getting this new car? So that's really the main point. So this is my car. This is my new car, a 2016 Mini Cooper Sport. This is like the best kind you can get. Like, every feature that's available is in this car. This is the first new car that I've ever gotten. Nobody in my family has ever gotten a new car. I've never gone through the process of getting a new car. So as soon as we got to the dealership and we met with the salesperson, I was very intimidated, didn't know what to expect. I didn't really think about what I wanted. I just settled for what he gave me and what the deal was, and I thought that was the best. But as soon as we got there, Arjan and everybody that was with me started drilling him and asking him questions. What features does this one have? What features does that one have? To match what I wanted. It would have never occurred to me to approach a salesperson or approach somebody that I'm buying something from to tailor it to exactly what I wanted. I had never seen that kind of approach or that kind of style of like, this is everything I want, give it to me right now, create some sort of package, what can we work with, and drill and drill and drill and drill and persist and persist and persist. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if they're like, what are you doing? And you could tell that the energy is off, you still get what you want, and that was the most important thing. It was a decision for the long term. It was, I don't want to just hurry up and get this and just get out and then be disappointed with the car that I get and drive around in a car that doesn't inspire me, doesn't make me happy because it was quicker for the sales guy to sell it. I'd rather spend more time at the dealership dealing with this guy, getting exactly what I want, so that when I leave the dealer, I'm happy with my decision, and I'm happy every day I get in this car, and it inspires me to do more, and it matches all the features that I wanted. So the original car that I had set on and was gonna leave with didn't have hands-free keyless car option, which basically means that you don't have to put the key in the ignition. It's like push to start. Your keys could be in the purse. I was willing to accept the green car that had the less feature, that didn't have the keyless version, just because I didn't know that there was such thing as a car that you didn't need a key for. I was willing to accept silver wheels, not like the cool black wheels. I was willing to accept like standard stereo system. Now I have like the best stereo system that cars have. I wasn't going to have like tire protection, so if my tire ran flat, I went from a PT Cruiser with no brakes that was like really crappy to a car that I'm so excited to look at in the morning, so excited to get into, so excited to get to work. It inspires me, it gives me energy, it gives me motivation to keep going, so it's really, really cool.